Hello, denizens of the internet. Welcome back to the Deplorable Batcave podcast. I'm your host tonight, Spartacus. Joining me tonight are our returning and ever-lovely denizens of the Batcave. Beginning from left to right from my perspective, Anthony, the Concerned Commenter.
Hello, one and all.
Riveting. Blippity Blop.
Hello.
John. I believe he did say he was stepping out for a moment. Who's the next one? I can't read it. It says the B.
What?
The one right before you, see. Sorry, I can't.
Skeleton.
Beggar here.
Yeah, sorry about that. It doesn't show your full username.
Yeah, sorry.
And, yeah. Shows our professionalism, right, folks? But next on our list is C.
Khmer Hatziv, how are you?
I'm doing wonderfully.
Fantastic.
Say him out loud.
And Vero will be joining us when he can. He's currently AFK.
He was picked off by predators, it happens.
Either that, it was either that, Russia, or he had information that could lead to the jail time of Hillary Clinton.
Don't say that, that's how people die, man.
Harambe.
Words kill. Words are...
Or he blasphemed against the prophet. Speaking of which, we're going to start off with, sadly, I hate starting off with more somber ones, but this one's somber in a morbidly amusing sense. Hashtag Hang Ayaz Nazami. For those who don't know, Ayaz Nazami is a man in Pakistan who said, to be charitable, unflattering things about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, maybe. No, not really. And since he said this on social media in Pakistan, the Pakistanis are in a bloody uproar and demanding his death. We don't even know if he's dead or not yet, I think. So, topics on the floor, gentlemen. I yield the discussion.
I think first I want to know, is this guy still alive?
Researching.
Let's get an update.
I know he's an ex-Muslim and was a scholar of some kind. I don't know if he's still...
Well, that can mean any number of things. Ex-Muslim could mean something along the same lines as an ex-parrot.
Well, I guess there was a similar situation Jordan I remember about Professor.
Okay, so what we know so far, he's actually an outright anti-Islam blogger in Pakistan.
Ballsy motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
And he was arrested for blasphemy. And the hashtag Hang Ayaz Nizami is trending afterwards. He was arrested on the 24th of March amid a crackdown on religious freedom in Pakistan. Because, religion of
Notable
peace.
paragon of religious freedom, Pakistan, apparently.
Yes. Religious freedom and religious freedom of peace.
Right, so what methods of evacuation do we have for this guy? Or is he going to be a martyr?
I don't think he could be evacuated because I think where he is pretty central to Pakistan, and I don't think there's anybody who's going to be able to... Like, from what I understand about these situations in Pakistan is that even if the judges wanted to let him go, and sometimes they do, they know that a mob is going to gather outside the courtroom and lynch the guy the minute they let him out. So, like, I can't remember the name of one case, but it was a woman who said something, and they held her in jail simply because they knew if they ever let her out, she would just be lynched.
It's kind of a terrifying irony that the good people are all in jail in Pakistan, and you're safer there than... Because here you'd get lynched by a Muslim gang in jail if you insulted the prophet.
Well, in a further update to the story, he and two others were charged with blasphemy in a counter-terrorism court and faced the death penalty.
This is why we got rid of our blasphemy laws.
Well, I don't think in America there were blasphemy laws, just in Europe in general.
Well, let's not forget there's a pseudo-blasphemy law in Canada.
Yeah,
The
an
M103.
indirect. It's a blasphemy law with an extra step.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm back. What topic are we on right now?
Organized.
The ballsy guy in Pakistan.
Oh, the ballsy guy. Okay.
As an update, Vero, because you probably missed it, he's an anti-Islam blogger in Pakistan.
No shit. Wait, is he an atheist or is he a Christian?
Yes, he's the vice president of the Atheist and Agnostic Alliance of Pakistan.
Oh my gosh.
Blippity, I want to get your reasoning on this. Why is he being charged with blasphemy? He didn't say curse Allah or something.
Because any denigration of the Prophet is heresy.
No, because
blasphemy.
and this is what you gotta understand about Islam is that it's not about worshiping Allah to an extent. It's about doing what Muhammad says and not criticizing Muhammad ever.
But would say like talking pejoratively about Moses be interpreted as blasphemy?
Well, no, because this is what you got to understand about Judaism and Christianity is that most of the figureheads in the biblical sense, like outside of Jesus, they were considered flawed men. Like,
Well,
I don't know.
I'm just asking for
No,
Blippity.
every Orthodox Jew I've ever met has been pretty
I
chill.
believe I wrote it as
If I can get a word
Yeah,
in.
sorry, Blippy, go ahead.
Yes.
So the only case for blaspheming is in a divine context, and that would be God and God only. But in this case, any kind of criticism, and Vera was touching upon this, is considered blaspheming.
So if I were to say like Moses was a total tosser or
it's-
something, that how would that be
Anthony,
reviewed?
That would not be blaspheming, but in terms of context, it's kind of contradictory because Muhammad is a man, and from what I understand of Islam, any kind of application of divinity to any man is heresy.
And
Actually, Anthony, do you mind if I just give you? Because let me tell you a similarity between this and Christianity. I know people are going to go down my throat for that a little bit, but like here's the thing: is just that, for example, in Christianity, we believe that Jesus was a man, but he was also divine. Basically, the Muslims believe the same thing. Like we believe that Jesus was the perfect man; they believe Muhammad was the perfect man. So if you do anything that criticizes the perfect man, it would be considered blasphemy.
Well, there definitely is a higher reverence for Muhammad to the point where I really question
entirely correct,
some of their...
because at the same time, no man is allowed to have any kind of divine aspects.
Yeah, and this is actually what I was telling you when I was getting to you about when we were talking about the Talmud. Is that what I acknowledge about Judaism is what I like is that again, like all the biblical figures in the Old Testament, they're all flawed men. Like you brought up Moses earlier. The reason why you won't get why Jews won't get mad at you for criticizing Moses because Moses was a flawed man. Like there's a story in the Bible where it talks about God telling him how to give his people water, and he just he's supposed to ask this rock for water. But instead, he just gets angry and smashes it with his cane, and God was like, okay, we won't go to the promised land.
Well, also, he referred to the people as beings. He insulted the people.
Yeah, we're talking about ridicule, Vero. We're not talking about criticisms of somebody's character.
I think another thing to point out is that the interesting way in which Twitter reacted, this hashtag was not censored, and none of the people calling for this man's death were, banned from Twitter.
Oh, it's not only not censored; it was trending.
Yeah, it was trending.
But
I found
How
the Freethinkers
unbelievable.
blog,
Hey,
and it's been shut down.
You bigot. Don't say that about the religion of peace. What's wrong with you?
But you can
Religion
definitely.
of peace can suck my dick.
But you can definitely.
Also, I'm never going to Pakistan.
You can definitely tell there is a cultural influence on how this man is perceived when you consider how like Muslims will refer to Muhammad. I remember when they were doing a response to the rap to the "I love Jesus but hate religion." There was a Muslim that did like a rebuttal, and he basically tried to comment on Muhammad and talked about how beautiful Muhammad was, just the physical beauty, to the point of almost being in love with him. And it just seems that they have a much higher reverence for Muhammad than Jews would have for Moses.
Anthony, all I gotta say is gay. But anyway, go on.
Part of that, I want to say, might be owed to the lack of... Islam didn't really start off as an intellectual religion, and I'm trying to be as diplomatic and charitable as I can be here.
No,
but
let's just be frank about it. It's an anti-intellectual religion.
What I'm saying is that when the religion spreads to these areas that are very remote and very rural people have an attitude towards religion, whatever religion, that's usually different than, say, an intellectual community. But in the case of Islam, there was no core intellectual community. I mean, Muhammad was a warlord of a very small desert kingdom, which amounted to a small town near a well.
Yeah, actually, Z, I would have to disagree with you on this, and maybe Blippity can back me up on this if he knows this. Like, okay, like you've heard of the Muslim Renaissance, quote unquote, where they were supposed to.
Yeah, I know about the the golden age of the Islam as it's called.
No. But here's what you might not know about it is that you got to understand, like, that wasn't Muslims. Those books were books that were saved by the Muslims, Christian and
Syrian Christians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, where Aristotle wasn't a Muslim, can we focus back on the topic at hand, which was this young man?
Yes, I think it's yet again we have more proof of Twitter's biases. This hashtag is allowed to trend, and none of these posters are going to be punished for essentially calling for a man's death.
And by the way, Spartacus, is there any update on whether he's still alive or not?
I can't find anything personally.
Well,
So I do have a
it's only
question.
been 5 days since his arrest. He may not have even had his trial yet. He's just been charged.
Wait, is the
can you guys
charge,
hear me?
blasphemy charge? Is there a death penalty to that?
Yes, there's a death penalty.
Somebody wants to ask a question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
No, it's. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So, are we discussing here what we're going to do about it, or our frustrations?
Frustrations, we can't do
What
shit.
can we do? Yeah, we're not Pakistani, and even if we were, like, honestly, if I was Pakistan, I would shut.
Well, I definitely think this is proof in the pudding that Pakistan. I mean, there are a lot of people that want to think that Pakistan is somehow the closest, at least in being comparable to a secular nation. But I think this is kind of throws a monkey wrench.
America
in
is
that.
only willing to, in my opinion, ally with Pakistan solely because they have nukes, and we don't want a nuclear war between India and Pakistan, which India would
I
win.
absolutely am on board with. We can't do anything about Ayaz, but I mean Twitter though.
Yeah,
Even Turkey is more democratic than
Turkey is
they are.
quickly becoming
Yeah.
Erdogan's little caliphate.
Yeah, but what are you going to do about Twitter, though? You criticize any of this shit, they're just going to shadow ban you.
But I don't think Erdogan is going to create a caliphate. He seems closer to having a military dictatorship.
Anthony, what I got to tell you is that he's definitely trying to start a caliphate.
We're not talking about Turkey.
My point about Pakistan and what we could do about Twitter is all we can really do realistically is document this as another sign of Twitter's hypocrisy. I mean, we could start a hashtag about it, but it'd just be censored. We could go to another platform about it.
Actually, guys,
I've had a little bit of success writing in
How many of you guys are on Gap?
Writing Jack.
How many of you guys?
writing my local letter to the editor. That gets through. I live in a small enough town that gets through every once in a while.
Yeah, but guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and local news stations. If you could get some of them to report on it.
No, but I mean that might be a way to an avenue of effective activism is to write to a local news station to go, look, this guy's going to get hung for his religious beliefs in Pakistan. It's going to be hard though because
Twitter. The story here. I mean, the real story is he's going to get hung, but the story in America is that an American company is, if not endorsing it.
yeah, I mean it's worth
the word?
it to give it a shot.
Hey, but guys, I know an easy solution to this. How many of you have an account on Gap?
I do.
So how do you? Well, I'll save it for the Discord chat afterwards. But I'd like
Okay.
to actually ask how that works.
Yeah, well, it's different now. Like because before, like when it was just starting out, you had to wait for the basically for the programmers and owners to respond to your request to have a Gap. But you can just sign up now, as far as I know, just like Twitter. But anyway,
So-
this is how you do it. Is that Twitter is dying?
We'll save it for the Discord. We want to
Yeah.
save time.
Okay. Can we move on to the next topic, if possible?
Okay.
Or do we have any closing thoughts regarding the topic we were discussing about the man that was about to be killed?
I just have one,
Again,
and that is where are the armies of LGBT QWERTY?
A
and,
plus.
and honestly,
Where are the calls of injustice here?
yeah.
I will say only that man has balls of steel, and God bless him.
My closing thought is that I'm actually talking to you guys. I'm thinking of starting a Change.org petition to I don't know, just to bring this to President Trump's attention. I don't know like how much it can do, but I think the more attention we can bring to the story, and just so it doesn't get buried and go down the memory hole, the better.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Well said.
Smart.
Okay, next up, speaking of President Trump, let's talk about sanctuary cities, or more specifically, the attempts by Democratic Representative Gutierrez to redefine sanctuary cities like they tried to define illegal aliens. Democratic Representative Gutierrez is saying that sanctuary cities are actually Fourth Amendment cities.
Unbelievable. Where do I start?
Well, he went on to say, why do I say that? If you supply a warrant to the city of Chicago, right, we will absolutely honor that warrant. But you've got to get a warrant. So think about it a moment. The DEA, the FBI, the ATF, they get warrants, right? They go and pick people up. What ICE, which is another federal law enforcement agency, does is it wants to have people detained and wants the city of Chicago to go after people without any probable cause being submitted before the court and without a warrant. What does that have to do with the Fourth Amendment?
Well, no, you see, this is the problem, is that basically he's one of these guys that are, because you see, this is the thing, it's just that the Bill of Rights isn't for everybody. It's for American citizens.
Exactly.
If you're not an American citizen, the Fourth Amendment does not apply to you at all.
They're invoking natural rights.
No.
Is what they're trying to
No.
invoke.
What I'm saying is that under the U.S. Constitution, their natural rights do not matter unless they're American citizens. It does, natural rights doesn't, because we don't live under common law. We live under the law of the United States Constitution.
Now, I take a slightly different stance on that, and it's simply that they do have those natural rights, but the government only guarantees those rights. It only has an obligation to guarantee the rights to U.S. citizens.
Yes, the state governments would be complicit in illegal
And
activity.
that, too, to
So-
the law-abiding...
This is the thing, though, is I feel like, at least from a legal perspective, you guys are conflating natural rights with human rights. Because, like, for example, like, they have a human right to, again, like, not to just be taken out into a back of some woodshed and just shot, since I know we're going to deport them, but they do not have the human rights to illegally be in the United States. But natural rights, like, as far as I understand, there's no legal basis for natural rights. Like, the only natural rights that are protected are those that are within the U.S. Constitution.
Well,
if you're a citizen.
And some of those are stupid.
You could make that argument that these rights extend to all under a very rigid reading of for all men, but then you have to get into a practical argument of if you logically take that to its conclusion, that's an insane proposition.
What happens with natural rights is being invoked is this is definitely a lot of infighting between the Christian left and the Christian right. And they both believe in natural law, and they both believe that God has endowed persons with natural rights. And that's what they're invoking when they try to argue. They're arguing and having an argument between the spirit of the law and the letter of the law is what they're having an argument about.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to be the Pharisees here. I'm going with the letter of the law at this point because these people, let me put it this way. Like I live in a southern state. I've worked with a lot of illegal immigrants. They're not all bad people. We need to give these criminals the fuck out of here. They need to be out. I don't care what. Like honestly, I'm at the point where I'm totally okay with the whole Dreamers thing. these people, like the immigrants that are here that are just working and they're not committing crimes, I don't mind naturalizing them.
Well, sorry to interrupt, Verl, but there's a fallacy in what you just said.
Go ahead.
By being here, they are committing a crime. They're criminals by default.
No, I understand that, but this is about, what I'm talking about is lesser crimes versus greater crimes. Like, yes, it's a crime to cross the border, but if they're doing it and they're just, like, mowing some middle-class white bread people's lawns, I don't care. If they're raping people or if they're selling, like, hardcore drugs in the street, a lot of the times, like, at least with some of these cartel gangs to children, then, I want those people out. The people that are just working here and their only crime is just crossing the borders, that I don't think that they should get immediate citizenship, but I think we should maybe open a process for it.
Can I add in a point?
Go ahead.
I know my knowledge of United States law is not going to be a patch on you guys, but my understanding of this is it seems so similar to the undocumented category. It's this very emotional appeal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Real quick, just to clarify, are you talking about the cases between like Europe and America when it comes to these situations?
No. I'm thinking back to Gary Johnson. And
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, excuse me.
Meltdown.
Isn't it? I think that there is this sort of unease with, well, they're criminals already just on account of their being in the country illegally. But, now they're here, you can't get rid of them. That's, that's genocide. So if you change the category, then suddenly they have these perceived rights, and they're in the same category as a resident. I'm not saying this is justified. I'm just trying to get an understanding of the mindset behind this. And it seems to me that this whole notion of sanctuary cities is they've reached this res shrine, so everything's okay now.
I would say there's first, I think the thing you're describing, Blippity, is called an emotive conjugation, and what that is that the difference between an illegal immigrant and an undocumented immigrant is technically nothing. Those are the same words. It's just one. They both mean the same thing. They're just terms that emotively invoke different emotions.
There are actual differences. There are people that are citizens of the United States, but they don't have any records or documentations.
I was meaning strictly in the context of the conversation.
And also, I would also say that this is what you talk about when you said emotional conjugation. This is something both the left and the right do, because what do the left say?
Well, it's typical argumentation. I mean, it's the best way to argue. If you want to get people on your side, use emotive conjugations. It's great.
It's a great thing, but you see, this is why I'm just in the middle when it comes to this issue, because I
use them at work all the time.
No, it doesn't work on me specifically, and here's why. Is because, again, I've had friends who are illegal immigrants. I've had coworkers that are illegal immigrants, and I would say about 80% of them are totally fine people, and you know what the biggest problem with them is? The biggest problem is they're all about mi familia. And it doesn't matter if their mi familia is a MS-13 gang member or a cartel member. They don't care because of mi familia, if you see where I'm going with that. That would be my biggest problem with most of that.
And I would bring up, in America, there's both. I will actually give the blame on both parties in this case, and I'll blame the Democrats because they objectively are making the calculation that they want the votes. So they'll set up these sanctuary cities on the belief that maybe not these people might be able to get through the voting booths depending on the legal structure of the area they're going to, but their children will likely be voting for our party. And Republicans, admittedly, a lot of them are willing to go with what some business interests want, which is the cheap labor they can import. I live in California, and let me tell you, these agribusinesses, they go and look for them. They send buses down to get those people and bring them here.
Yeah, no, but you see, it's not even that. You know how many right-wing people I know in my life, they're like, oh yeah, build the wall, but they have fucking illegals, mowing their lawns and cleaning their houses. It's they're both wrong. They're both each morally hypocrites, in my opinion.
I think in
I
the
see how
past
most
I've said two different things on this. One is I thought we were past needing an ethnic diverse group who have less rights and are paid to do jobs nobody wants to do. I thought we were past slavery, but
But we still have to.
No.
But we still have, the male job gap.
Well,
do you see this as like a extension of the Fourth Amendment to a city as opposed to just individuals?
I don't think it works that way.
No. Because here's the thing: is just that the Fourth Amendment, at least from my understanding of reading the law, I know that there's like a breathing law doctrine, but I don't agree with that. I believe the law is the law, and the Fourth Amendment is made for an individual to be able to protect his property from the government. It's not for a local government to wag their fingers at the state and federal government.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I do see where they're saying it's a Fourth Amendment thing, though, because when ICE is going into people's houses, but like I said, like we've all said, the U.S. Constitution covers the rights of its citizens and not illegal aliens or
Yeah,
people.
because let me tell you, John, when you brought up slavery, you hit the nail on the head. Like, it's not good for these people. Because again, you know why so many of these illegals, like especially the women, end up being like sex slaves chained up into somebody's basement because they're undocumented and nobody knows where they are. They have nowhere to track them.
I think it's necessarily absurd to bring up like sex dungeons if we're just talking about some Hispanic mother and her children.
No, but what I'm telling you, what I'm telling you is that I live in a southern state. I see these stories all the time. They happen a lot more than you think on a local level.
That's anecdote, though.
No, it's not anecdote. Okay, fine, it's anecdote. But when I see this story hundreds of times over the span of a few years, I'm sorry, it's a little bit more of an anecdote, and the statistics.
But
at
at least in regards to how this affects the Fourth Amendment, you still have people that purchase properties where if they purchase it with their money, it's still like legally their property.
No, but what
So
I'm saying
you come up with the complexities with search and seizures versus, say, somebody gets like a rent and the landlord is technically the one that owns the property, but the agreement that they formed, at least in the lease that was signed, was done under false pretenses. If they, say, submitted false papers and they have documents that aren't really real, at least regarding their citizenship, in which case the lease was formed on false pretenses and may be liable to be voided, and therefore the person would have right of entering it. Right.
Yeah, but this is kind of my point though, is that they're hanging this unnecessary huge sword of Damocles over their head. Because I'm sure, like in these sanctuary cities, maybe they have a good enough lawyer, and the local and state governments are sympathetic enough. Maybe they can get Fourth Amendment protection. But I'm telling you, in the state that I live in, they're fucked. They're going to get the no-knock warrants, and there's going to be no lawyer that can defend them because at least in my state, as far as they're concerned, illegals do not have Fourth Amendment protection.
And also probably also expanding those to the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment too.
I have two solutions that I want to get in before people
Go ahead,
we move
John.
on to the next topic. The first one is that we need to mandate by law that the minimum wage applies to foreign workers as well as natural workers, because that would make them less competitive or on an equal footing. I think it could save some jobs. And then the other one,
That's a good idea.
But even though there's technically not being done.
Anthony, let him get his points across.
well, the other one, I put a petition up on whitehousepetitions.gov, and I'll link it to you guys later. But I believe that sanctuary cities, even if we deport a criminal that's in their jails, should have to pay out the remainder of their jail sentence into immigration structures and policies, because the city bears some responsibility for that crime being committed and a responsibility to the victim to actually not get off the hook.
Hey, John, I got a quick follow-up question for you for that. Would you agree with Trump when he says about talking about defunding sanctuary cities?
Absolutely. Although
Okay.
I do feel bad for the people who didn't vote for the people who made the policies that are getting them defunded, but
Yeah, but there's always going to be collateral damage when it comes to politics, no matter which way you slice it. Unfortunately.
But
Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
I
Sorry.
wanted to bring up the idea because property rights are still defended even for non-citizens, even though this isn't done through illegal means. I have neighbors that are, French Canadian. I mean, the government doesn't have the right to just, go into their house. They legally own the property; it's theirs. So, as far as they're concerned, the U.S. government respects that, even though they are not technically U.S. citizens.
Yeah, but you're comparing apples and oranges because who's those people are French citizens. They're under the jurisdiction
They're
of the
Canadian
French government,
citizens.
no matter where.
No, they're Canadian citizens. They're French Canadian.
Canadians. Okay, my bad. Well, then fine. Then they're Canadian citizens. They're under the jurisdiction of the Canadian government, who is an ally of the United States. So of course, the United States is not going to fuck with any of their rights.
So somebody that didn't have a cushy relationship with the U.S., if they bought property in the U.S., are you saying
what
that
I'm saying is
their
that you're
property
comparing
rights would
apple
be
and oranges.
shakier?
You're talking about somebody who's legally here compared to somebody who's illegally. So even when we take away the fact of government, you're talking about somebody who's legally here and illegally. So it's just apples and oranges, dude. It just is.
You still said that somebody who's not a citizen doesn't have any property rights. That's what you argued.
I'm saying no, but my point was that I'm talking about naturalized citizens. And don't forget that I said they're under the jurisdiction.
They're not naturalized citizens. They're non-citizens.
Does the Canadian government have property law?
Yes.
Well, then there you go.
So you're saying if somebody didn't come from a country that had property laws, that they would have no basis for buying property in the U.S.?
I'm saying it's a very. I'm saying we're getting to a very thorny and messy.
Guys, we're getting quite bogged down though, so we have other topics to tackle.
Yeah, exactly.
yes.
But hey, can I ask you each make it as brief as possible? I got one closing statement for you. You got the Americans specifically. Do you really care if the immigrants that are actually just working, not committing any crimes, but are here illegally? Would you mind putting into a process to make them citizens, or do you just want them deported?
If you had asked me a few years ago, I'd have been all for it. But Rockville just happened, so yeah.
But they committed those people that committed a crime. I want those people. I'm talking about the people that.
But before that, they had no prior crimes.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But they were here. But they were illegals, right?
Yep.
Okay, well that's what I mean. It's just that deport those fuckers no matter what. I don't care.
But until they did something, they had no previous crimes.
I know, but they committed a crime, didn't they? They committed a very bad crime.
But the thing is, here's what I'm saying: they're already committing a crime. Fine, until they commit a major crime, they're just at the ass end of the list. But they all gotta go.
Okay, yeah, okay. So no naturalization.
Or at the very least, they need to go across the country and then apply on the other side. But it's not fair to the people who see. I would like to see a path towards naturalization, but it's not fair to the people who have been waiting in line and doing things the right way.
Well, I think something that needs to be addressed is why people are waiting so long in the first place. I think a lot of the immigration courts get bogged down because there's just not that many of them.
Yeah, it's fair enough. We're running out of time.
Yeah, that's true.
I would just say, Anthony, yay or nay on naturalization?
If you could come up with a process that works, perhaps.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so
Maybe.
anybody else, any closing statements, or are we going to move on to the next topic?
Mine's a maybe.
Table that for next week.
Okay.
Can I just make one statement?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I think it's generally with America right now, I think just with the public schools, it just pushes the nation of immigrants thing, so it's always going to be a thorny subject.
Oh, yeah, because people on both sides, they're right and they're wrong at the same time.
So, moving on to the third topic, I believe.
Yeah, what's the third topic?
All right, we have three options. We have demonetization of YouTube, the Lacey Green and Blair White stream, or Australia cringe.
I'm all for lazy.
Demonetization.
I think that there's a few people here who really wanted to tackle that. So
Okay, yeah. fair enough.
my vote is for demonetization of YouTube.
Yeah, my vote's for lazy green, but yeah, I understand.
All right, we'll do demonetization, then Lacey Green immediately after.
Okay.
Agreed.
Very well, gentlemen.
I know C's got something particular he wants to bring to this, so I suggest we give them the chance to start on that.
Oh yeah, and guys, please, like I see you guys aren't using the text chat in the Google Hangout. Like any links or stuff, like please put them in there.
Okay. Well, if I have any.
Well,
Yeah, I know. Like if you have any, comment forward. Just pointing out.
unfortunately, I can't because, I can't.
Oh, you're on your phone, yeah.
Well, there's also
Yeah,
there's
that's
that, and I can't move away. I can't get off the screen since I'm the one recording.
C, do you want to start off?
Okay, so we're doing demonetization, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, demonetization.
Okay, I
right.
have those notes up too. So one thing to remember about the demonetization thing is that it is coming off the heels of a massive advertiser boycott of YouTube. And I think it's very interesting that a lot of major corporations, including GM, McDonald's, a bunch of other ones, have all gotten together and they've decided to boycott YouTube unless they did something to censor the platform. And this raises in my mind a really big question: is this the next mode of attack that the establishment is going to make? Are they going to use this method of getting all the big corporate power brokers, who are the lifeblood of YouTube in a lot of ways? Well, they're not the lifeblood of YouTube, but they are a big source of the money and ad revenue, to basically force YouTube to censor the platform and get rid of voices like, say, this channel or Matt and Blonde or any of these other non-socially accepted. Well, we're socially accepted, but not
Mainstream.
things that aren't mainstream views, things that aren't what you would call politically correct, things that Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want us to see.
Yeah,
Things like that.
Yeah, Z, what I would say, and this is going to be my only comment on this because, this is my least favorite topic on this, what I would say is that if YouTube goes the route of sucking the cock of their AdSense, they're going to fail, they're going to die, and people are going to move on to Vimeo or Vid or any of these other sites that don't do this bullshit.
We shouldn't be so confident on that, and there's only one major reason I'm going to give for that, and that is that Google has more money than you can fathom, and they have poured a lot of money into fiber optic cables. And granted, I'm not a technology person, but I do know that they have spent they're leagues ahead of most others.
No, let me put it this way: Google is like the Hydra. It has many heads, but unlike the Hydra and the Mist, you cut off one of its heads, it's not growing back. And I'm telling you, YouTube, if YouTube went down, it would hurt them. It would hurt them bad.
Not that much. They're actually losing money on YouTube.
Yeah, they are losing money, so that's my point.
Yeah, well, that's what's driving it is YouTube is in a frantic panic to avoid this massive advertiser boycott, and it's gonna put people who aren't politically correct, who aren't acceptable to the people running Google. And Schmidt, the CEO of Google, has already said, basically, he doesn't intend to quote-unquote censor anybody, but he wants to bury views he doesn't like and make it harder to find them.
Oh yeah. Oh, so sorry. This will be my last comment. And if you want to stop this, what a really easy way to do it would be? Subscribe to YouTube Red, because then they don't have to depend on advertisers.
Yeah, but then we would be giving money straight to Google, and we don't want that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My suggestion on this.
And don't use their platform to get.
About three people started at the same time, so.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, Blippity started before me, but.
No, go on.
All right. So the solution to this, or at least the most effective one, is to get enough businesses that have conservative views advertising on YouTube that they can just ignore, or even just pick and choose who is going to show advertisements on what channels. But until you have advertisers backing us, it's going to be an argument of whether our content is worth it. Yeah, that's what I got to say.
Yeah, well, taking on board what you're saying, and also tying this in with C's assertion, there isn't really a viable alternative to YouTube at the moment. You can argue to the cows come home about how there may be things like Minds.com and how we should all go over there. Now, we might have all heard of it, but Minds.com is still unknown to the layman. When the average YouTube viewer wants to find a video, they're going to go to YouTube. They're not really going to think of alternatives. And if there are alternatives, this is just my opinion, of course, they will not be regarded in the same way. And just because we are aware of upcoming alternatives, there's still going to be small fish in comparison.
Well, I mean, there's small fish, right? Like, mine's a small fish right now, but
actually,
wasn't it the same situation with MySpace and Facebook, 9 years ago?
Well, here's the difference. Minds and Gab are small time right now, but you're trying to compare them to Facebook and MySpace. Facebook and MySpace didn't have the mainstream and the rest of the internet telling everybody that they're a den of right-wing white supremacists.
Mm-hmm.
That's a completely different thing.
Yeah. But I mean, look.
That's actually a really good point, because going from an advertiser's perspective, they just want to make the moolah. They don't want to have all this negative publicity associated with it. And unfortunately, the money speaks, and they're going to err on the side of cowardice.
But here's the thing: it's just that how long will that last, though? Because again, like I would agree with you if it was if we weren't living in a time where Stefan Molyneux, for example, has over 500,000 subscribers. Where that's still a pittance in comparison. Or now,
I want to.
It's not as fringe as you seem to think.
I want to raise a point, at least regarding. I mean, we've already addressed like the corporate interest that might be at play here, at least as to why this clampdown is being made. But in regard to certain pressing issues on some of the people backing this, who aren't necessarily at the top of the corporate ladder, that are making inroads into these corporations. I recall, an incident long ago. By internet history's terms, when I saw like Randy Lee Harper and a couple others that were like making inroads in tech, kind of like, in Portland area, but places like abroad, along the West Coast, were basically trying to argue for this, at least in regards to how they're wanting to conform certain social networking sites to conform to their social views on certain matters, at least, and being more consumer friendly to demographics. That is to say, social circles that they're around, and their political views make up a big chunk of millennials that live in that area and are major and predominant buyers of consumer products in that area, and so it's well within corporate interests to pander to those groups, because they're the ones buying their shit. So
this is sorry, John. Go ahead.
And so sorry, I wanted to just finish the thought, at least to wrap all what I'm saying.
Oh, go ahead.
What I'm getting at. But the people that are basically making these inroads are going in kind of like Twitter safety councils and trying to make inroads with corporations like Google in an attempt to create policies
control the internet.
It's sort of for these individual sites that might collectively form like new social mores, at least in how one is to conduct themselves on the internet at large.
Yeah,
I think we all saw it coming when Obama and Merkel stood on a stage, and Obama said the internet has become a disruptive force towards whatever agenda Obama and Merkel have, and that they need to remake the internet to curate what people see, so that way the internet becomes a positive force for whatever political.
Well, they're doing it with different aims in mind, because you're talking about somebody that's trying to argue it from national security, that wants to try to.
Obama and national security. That's a joke.
I think in Obama's case is a lot deeper than that.
No, I think these arguments made by them are bunk, but this is bunk for the same reason that George Bush tried to make it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Obama's a neoliberal, and he was a neocon, and Bush was a neocon. They're basically the same thing. If you look at the actions.
There are nominal differences between them, but they're Obama's probably not even aware that people like this even exist. He has a different social circle. He's a liberal. They're like progressive, like alt progressive stuff, which is a different political school of thought than what Obama adheres to.
Yeah, hey, Spartacus, is it okay if we go a little over time? I see we're getting close to the hour mark, but I'd really like to hear Z talk about Lazy Green.
We started after 11. We haven't hit the hour mark yet.
Okay. Like, I'm looking at my clock. Wasn't sure exactly what. Okay.
Well, no, we started after 11. We run for an hour, so.
Okay. All right, sorry, Anthony. You can continue your point if I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, I think I've pretty much summed up at least what I was getting at.
Okay, and I think John wanted to comment on this.
I was a little bit lost in what was going on. With this, as far as effective actions going, I'm with Blippity on the mines stuff, but there isn't a reasonable alternative right now that provides a big enough thing. So corporate sponsors, like maybe if Mines.com had a couple of corporate sponsors that were doing advertising so that people knew they could make money over there, then it would become more of a platform. But until then, Google has a monopoly. And maybe that's our solution. If we could get the government to go after Google as a monopoly, which they most definitely are.
Oh, yes, considering that the most basic foundations of the internet run off of Google.
Yeah, but
AdSense and AdPlay, everything runs off of Google.
Look, but here's the thing, though. Think about it this way. Like, what if all of us here, I'm pretty sure we all have Twitter accounts, we all have Facebook accounts. Why don't you just shill Gab and Minds, like Minds on your Facebook, because it's more of a Facebook replacement, I believe, more than anything else. So why don't you say, hey, like this Facebook kind of sucks and there's too much crap on it. Why don't you go over to mine? It's a lot better and more efficient.
Except
for on Twitter with Gab.
Except for one small.
It's because you won't be seen.
Wait, let's not say this point.
Well, that basically summed it
up.
Yeah,
my point is silent. Again, you're thinking about this. A corporation is a corporation. They only have a limited number of people. Imagine if it wasn't just us that did this. Imagine if it was everybody and even somebody like Matt's audience. Like, how many Facebook friends do they have? How many people on Twitter follow them? Like, it multiplies and adds up really fast. I think at a certain point, you would be way more influential than any corporate ship.
Okay, then something we could do with that.
Slightly underestimating it here. There doesn't have to be a single person working a computer in order to silence you. All there has to be is an algorithm. Search for terms. If found, delete.
Okay, well, they haven't gotten to that point yet because there's alt-right guys that I follow on Twitter who shill Gab at every chance they get, and they haven't been shut down. They haven't been shadow banned or anything. I've checked; their posts can be seen whether I'm logged in or not. So obviously, that hasn't been put into the algorithm.
I'm just saying, if it gets to that point, they won't have to do anything really at all.
But it hasn't gotten to that point yet, so let's do it now.
You recall the triggering, right?
Yes.
Maybe we could do something like that with unsubscriptions. The only worry I have there is if you unsubscribe and delete your account, you'd lose everything. So.
Yeah, that's kind of a Mayday strategy, if anything else. I would say, like a last-ditch effort. I mean, and again, this is another thing. Like I shill for Vimeo all the time. I haven't started my YouTube channel, but I plan to start one, and I already have a Vimeo account set up. And every video that I post, I'm going to post on Vimeo first, and it's just going to be a passive thing. It's like, hey, why are you on YouTube? This is run by Google, and they're spying on you. Why don't you just go to Vimeo where they don't follow all your shit?
Well,
And again, all you gotta do is just simple passive things like that.
we're getting low on time, so let's go ahead and hit our possibly last topic for the night: the Lacey Green Blair White strain.
Okay, Z, please explain to us how this conversation went. I just want to hear this. I just want to hear Z talk because he's the only one that's watched it.
Okay, well, it was 2 hours long.
That was wow. That's 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds less. More than I thought it lasted.
Yeah. There was traditional Lacey Green cleavage, as is customary. Another just visual fact.
Stop objectifying her.
I'm going to objectify the shit out of her. The main thing that you'll notice immediately if you ever see it is the difference between Blair White's video feed and Lacey's video feed is that Lacey is using some kind of filter that makes everything hyper bright in her in her video feed, whereas Blair White
she's in an Apple store.
She's a white supremacist. No.
It's very color saturated and unnatural looking. Which
she's done this a lot.
So what is the topic?
The topic was kind of a generic, because Blair White is transgender but a conservative. It focused a lot on what is gender versus sex, and then it got into feminism, and then before that it went into rape statistics and false rape accusations, and whether or not you should believe anybody who says they're a victim. For the most part, Lacey stuck to all of her positions, or she played dumb and pretended those weren't her positions.
What about the false statistics that have been
false statistics? Lacey did, throughout the entire debate, what is called a Gallup gish. She just said so many things and said them so quickly that Blair White admittedly didn't have enough time to really respond.
So much bullshit, so you can only debunk the most distasteful ones, basically.
Yeah. So Lacey Green came in and she was kind of respectful, but it was a very fake respectful. Like, she would agree to certain things only to then disagree later. Like, it wasn't like she didn't come in wanting to find common ground, and you could tell that from the way she talked. She wasn't looking for common ground. Like, Blair White was trying to have common ground to have, like, an actual discussion, like, between two normal humans, which was probably a mistake on Blair White's part. God bless her.
So it would be just sort of like a Sargon Destiny stream, like...
Yeah, it was kind of like that, but at least, there was cleavage to look at, so, I stayed once.
I'm still... Okay, so gender doesn't exist.
So yeah, actually, this is what I'm wondering. Did she bring up the 1 in 4 statistic again, or
no? That did not actually come up.
Okay, so she was smart because she knows.
She avoided that trap, and I think Blair White was prepared for that. But
she avoided that trap.
She avoided that trap.
Okay, because here's the thing: every feminist knows that the 1 in 4 statistic is bullshit. They know it, they just can't admit it.
I'm sure if it had come up, Lacey would have tried various ways to make that case until Blair White just got tired of talking about it. Because the thing is Lacey came with a lot of prepared responses. She had a very intense script, whereas Blair came kind of ready for a conversation. And every time Blair would want to talk about something deeper, Lacey would move the goalpost or sort of move on to another set of talking points she wanted to get into.
So basically, every time she looked like she was getting put into a corner, she was like, actually, you know what, I just want to push this a little bit further.
Yeah. And another thing is that I do fault Blair for not pushing certain things hard enough. Like, for example, the way Lacey described feminism is she made it look like it was a majority position, when even among women, it's like 16% of the population in the United States. Like, it's a minority political project.
Yeah, but in all fairness, if she pushed, that if Blair White pushed her too far, that she would have just left.
Yeah, she would have. That would have been very entertaining, in my
It
opinion.
would have been entertaining, but it's not like what she was trying to do.
So Blair kind of became. You could tell Lacey was trying to do a rope-a-dope. She was just gish-galloping her way until Blair got tired or just couldn't possibly respond to everything that was being said in a reasonable amount of time. Like, for Blair to respond to all this, it would have been a 5 or 6 hour stream. I don't think Blair has that kind of free time. Basically, all it was Lacey restating her positions, but she was very friendly, and she didn't call Blair White anything, although there was a point where Blair White mentioned that often people of her political persuasion are called Nazis or fascists. In fact, Blair White's been called a fascist, which is fucking ridiculous. But Lacey sort of played it cool, but then she said, well, I haven't seen all your videos, and you do say stuff about race, and I don't know what my opinion would be about that. So...
See, you might be.
Hey guys, actually a funny little aside. You know why that Blair White is associated with fascism? Because there's a segment of the alt-right that basically everybody calls anime Nazis, and and a lot of them are big fans of Blair White. So I just thought that was a funny aside. That's where that comes from.
I mean, in the end, my overall review is that Blair was willing to agree to certain common ground things just to try to have a discussion, and Lacey just wasn't into it, and you could kind of tell that Lacey was just going to be dodgy the whole time. And
Fascist now.
Lacey might pretend to agree, but it's just a facade, and anything that she might agree with Blair on, she ended up contradicting it shortly afterward, and really the purpose of her agreement was just to soften Blair as a target, so that way she could later rebrand and restate her original opinion.
I'm sure if this happened today, I'm sure the video, like her, blow the fuck out video is gonna pop up tomorrow.
But if you watch it muted and you just stare at Lacey's cleavage, it's a pretty enjoyable watch, I guess.
Damn it! I just ate.
I'm not saying she's a goal of mine. I'm just saying she's a solid.
Hey!
Who's objectifying women?
In my opinion, Lacey.
I'm doing it. I'm objectifying her.
Yeah, solid 8 out of 10. I would say, solid 8.
I wouldn't go as high. 7, maybe 7. 7.5.
With those tits.
Hey, see.
Personally,
Compliment
I
and
lost
drag
a girlfriend
meets
to
Chelsea
feminism,
Clinton.
and my girlfriend looked like that. But, dude, oh man, where does this go from here, though? Like with Blair, I mean, I can see this blowing up and.
Like honestly, I find that funny. Does she even call herself a conservative? Like I'm not subscribed to her. I've never seen it.
Blair has said that she has right-wing views and that she generally agrees with conservatives on a lot of issues. So like that, she doesn't like any kind of label, and I don't blame her. Labels kind of get into tricky territory.
Like the thing is that I've heard Sargon say similar things, and Sargon is a leftist. Like he calls himself a leftist all the time. That's like I don't know, just because you has some right-wing... That doesn't really mean anything.
Blair is going to be probably... Blair seems more right-wing than Sargon to a great extent. I mean, obviously the areas where it's going to be different is there are people on the right who obviously hate trans people and that whole area. So, like,
I
she's
don't
an
hate trans
interesting...
people. I just don't believe in transgenderism.
Yeah, but it's the same way.
Blair has commented on that. Blair has said that...
person I've seen...
my view is that I'm just I don't hate trans people. I just don't want them to chop off their balls and turn their dick inside out. I don't want that.
I think that if there was genuine medical science that would actually allow someone to fully become what they believe themselves to be.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. I saw a study from I believe it was the Ukraine that was talking about this. They were talking about
guys.
Oh, sorry, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we're getting way off topic.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we'll talk about this in the Discord.
Anyway, as for the Lacey Green affair, my general consensus is I suspect Lacey Green is looking for a new niche audience because her MTV thing kind of fell through.
Wait, is she not doing that anymore? The Brawless?
No, she hasn't. She hasn't been renewed for the Brawless thing.
Step 1 complete.
Did you have any moments where she went out and attacked Blair, or
she didn't? She
was
was very cautious not to attack Blair, and I can't tell if that's because out of some heartfelt thing, or just because she didn't want to attack a trans person because of her political beliefs, or because she legitimately was there on peaceful terms.
Or
I don't want to attack a trans person on the basis of being a decent person, but
Yeah, I don't know her reasoning. She was remarkably kind of respectful. It seemed kind of like she was being dodgy in terms of her argumentation, but in terms of tenor, it was the most respectful I've ever seen an SJW person talk to Blair White. Because I've seen Blair White do other streams with people that don't agree with her and even hate her, and it's a lot more tense, especially when she did that stream with those other trans people who were on the left. This was like night and day in a lot of ways.
Yeah, this is what I'll say. It's just that, let me tell you, the word respect does not mean anything less Lacey Green. There's very few people I despise, but Lacey Green is one of them. In my opinion, she is the biggest cunt on YouTube. She is fake, and it's like I told you, guarantee there's going to be a video posted tomorrow saying what a asshole, fascist, and transgender traitor Blair White.
I'm 50-50 in agreement with you. Part of me wants to say that that's what's going to happen is Lacey Green's going to go back to her community and she's going to say, I got that Blair White fascist Nazi cunt. Or possibly this is the start of something, because another part of me suspects that maybe Lacey Green is looking to branch out in her career because the MTV thing isn't quite working out, and her views have been stagnant, and I think she loves money.
By the end of the year, I don't think she'll be making sandwiches.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I don't think she can make sandwiches.
here's another thing. The facade of respect, did you ever consider that it might be because Lacey Green is a fucking coward and she didn't want to get blown the fuck out in the chat? Because she's a snowflake. You know she's looking at the chat.
Well, the other is that Lacey Green has TV experience, so she does know how to, manipulate these sort of situations. So I don't know what to make of it. It was weird in and of itself that Lacey would agree to go on the stream like that.
We're probably not seeing another Ian Miles Chong.
If that happened, I would lose.
That's never going to happen again.
Yeah, admittedly, I did predict Trump's election, but I cannot ever predict Lacey Green doing an Ian Miles Chong thing.
By the way, if Chong ever sees this, Ian, thanks for taking the red pill. Welcome to the world. Welcome to consciousness. I never tweeted
here's the thing with Ian Miles Chong, though, which is why I think the difference between him and Lacey Green is that no matter what you thought about his views beforehand, he was a guy with integrity and he was consistent with what he said. His message never changed. He always kept his points, and he was always consistent with his message. That's why I think the difference. I think it would be integrity between the difference between the two of them.
yeah.
All right. Since we're
we can go hang out now.
since we're winding it down, we might be able to squeeze a little.
Wait. You gotta shout out for the 8 billion genders out there, because gender is a social construct, and we each
that
have
was
our
a
own
big thing.
individual ideas.
Gender is a social construct.
Gender doesn't exist. There's sex, and then there's our ideas about what that means.
We're not getting into this here.
Can I make one point here?
No.
Oh.
Go ahead. What?
Well, I guess my thing, at least right now, I'm seeing they're really close in fact.
Green, the first of many.
Here's the thing, guys. This is the trend I think you'll see with feminism next. I think you'll either see libertarian feminism or just pure conservative feminism. Possibility.
Well, okay, problem is feminism is an ideology unto itself. It cannot coexist with others. Feminism is basically the same thing as Islam. It is the ideology of peace.
Yeah, but keep in mind, there's a lot of Muslims that think they're liberal Democrats, so just keep that in mind. I'm not saying that it's not complete mental gymnastics, but people are people. They'll do it.
Okay, so to move on, Bobby might have to edit the last little bit out because I had a notice pop up for my antivirus, so that would probably screw things up.
Okay.
So last thing before we get down to our actual wind down segment, which I think we're going to keep from now on. We're going to do the Australian thing. Australian teachers to lecture 4-year-olds on sexism.
Oh,
can 4-year-olds even understand?
Educators?
Like,
No.
4-year-old me liked to eat bugs and.
Well,
Was I even
I'll go through.
Transformers, man.
I'll go through.
Transformers, not transgenders.
I'll go through the article. Educators will learn to spot children who enact sexist values, beliefs, and attitudes. 4,000 teachers in Australia are preparing to go through a training program aimed at helping stop sexism in students as young as 4 years old. The course, set up by the regional government in Victoria, will teach educators how to spot young children who enact sexist values, beliefs, and attitudes. A document concerning the program obtained by Heat Street defends the action by arguing that sexism first begins to appear in preschoolers. Apparently it's getting younger now. As young children learn about gender, they also may begin to enact sexist values, beliefs, and attitudes that may contribute to disrespecting gender equality, the document says. Professional learning will increase the capacity of early childhood educators to understand and implement respectful relationships and gender equality into their program delivery. It will build the capacity of educators to use reflective practice to critically evaluate their work with children using anti-bias approaches, specifically regarding gender bias, the document adds. Other reports indicate that teachers will also be taught to stop using sexist phrases such as "boys will be."
I can't take any more of this.
No,
hey,
man.
hey, Sparkus, real quick. I'm gonna respond to your
Gotta
article.
stop.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're gonna stop. This is all like a.
Okay, here we
way
go.
through. We're
Okay,
done.
so this is one by the New York Times. The title is "Wanted in China: More Male Teachers to Make Boys Men." First paragraph. History class began with a lesson on being manly. Lin Wei, 27, one of a handful of male 6th grade teachers at a primary school here, has made a habit of telling stories about warlords who threw witches into rivers and soldiers who outsmarted Japanese troops. Men have special duties, he said. They have to be brave, protect women, and take responsibility for wrongdoing. And I will link this article into the chat on here and on Discord because you need to read it. It's why the West is dying and the future is in the East.
Daryl, that was just the antidote to the poison that Spark was bringing.
You're welcome, Blippity.
So yeah, apparently the phrase "boys will be boys" is overly sexist and no longer allowed to be used.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but guys, I want your opinions on this real quick before I continue that article about what he said about men have special duties. They have to be brave, protect women, and take responsibility for wrongdoing. What do you think about that? Because I think that's 100% correct.
Agreed.
I think there's, well, first of all, there's biological aspects to that. There's inherent dynamics in male psychology that lends that to be true, and why it's worked for millennia.
Right.
If you want to do it, then do it.
I'm of the opinion that there is a biological basis for that in hunter-gatherer society, but I don't think society should operate by those mores, no. If you want to act like that, it's your freedom to do so, by your own freedom of association, to associate with people that want to live in that kind of system and go by those mores in their own social circles, but I'm not going to abide by it, and I don't want society to abide by it.
Okay, then my follow-up question to you, Anthony, is that do you really think that we can deal with threats from within and without if we have a society full of effeminate men?
No. It means that men and women are going to have to take on these burdens together.
But they can't. Women can't fight
They took them on in the workplace, and
I think
the
if we're going
ones-
to have that kind of society.
No, but here's the thing about the workplace, Anthony, is that men could take away women's right to go to the workplace tomorrow if they wanted to. Not saying that we should, but if we wanted to, we could shut that shit down.
Daryl, as much as I want to discuss this particular subject, we are straying off topic from the one that.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's just that I feel like all of our teams are going to be on this, but okay, go ahead.
And I rather would talk about this because the other one is so incredibly triggering for me.
Well,
Yeah.
I did say it was cringe.
Yeah, it's extremely cringe.
Is it all it's preschools, right? 4 is preschool.
Yeah, I guess
Preschools.
that's my only question. Does it say this is in a specific region, or is this like a fucking national thing? Please fill
It's,
me up.
It says
Province.
it says it's in Victoria.
Okay, so just one province. And is that like
Remember,
a state or a region?
remember, guys, Australia, chief export, feminism.
Yeah,
But,
no.
but I do have one question, Vera, before I even look at the article you linked about the one in China. So I have to ask a few questions. Does it teach a man how to be swift as a coursing river, have the force of a great typhoon, the strength of a rushing fire, and be as mysterious as the dark side of
Victoria's
the moon?
where Melbourne is. That's why.
I'll read you this one sentence to answer your question. In Shanghai, principals are trying boys-only classes with courses like martial arts, computer repair, and physics. So there you go.
This is why Japan doesn't have these problems.
Well, this is China.
The short answer, Sparks, Japan has no money.
All I'll tell you is that, if the West did what China was doing right now, feminism would die within 5 years. It would be dead. It would be eliminated.
To put some context, Anthony, to put some context into what Spark was bringing in before in terms of this particular closing
Oh, is there like a
topic.
reference I wasn't getting there?
It's I just.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to
There's a
I
reference.
want to put my cards on the table. This is so particularly triggering for me. As a parent, just the thought of my child being exposed to this sort of material just would hurl me into a rage.
Okay, as to the topic itself, yeah, I can see that. But while I was referencing to you, Viral, that was definitely a reference.
I think the fact that Melbourne is in
I
Victoria
think it's
tells
a
you
reference,
everything you
sorry.
want to know about why that's happening, because Melbourne is kind of a shit show when it comes to
Okay,
sock justice.
Melbourne.
Whatever, I don't give a shit.
Melbourne.
okay, Viral. This is layers of comedy. It was song lyrics from the song "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan, which is set in China.
Oh, yeah.
Made by Disney.
So that, come on,
Female lead.
female lead. So that was layers of comedy in that joke.
Yeah, you see, this is, like, actually, ironically, despite what I just read, you know Mulan is actually one of my favorite Disney movies.
Yeah.
It actually is, because here's the thing about that, is just that, you know, with Mulan, there wasn't this bullshit like we have, at least, I don't know what it's like in...
Unfortunately, Disney is not our topic.
But at least in America, instead, the women who join the military, instead of doing the push-ups, they get to do those curl things. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we need to wrap it up. So we have.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I went on. Sorry.
So we're gonna end as we tend do with something a little bit more upbeat. Usually it's either hashtag fake news or hashtag winning. This week it's hashtag fake news. CNN fact checks Sean Spicer joke about salad dressing.
Okay.
Very fake news.
No comment.
Salad bowl about America.
It's the most important things for liberals to know, seeing as how they eat so many vegetables.
Yeah.
Non-news.
Yeah, speaking of Sean Spicer, did you see where he told that Hispanic reporter earlier today? Like she asked him a question about the executive privilege about the Yates case, and he said, do you read English? Oh, it was great.
Anyway,
I was
so
like, yes.
go
ahead. Go.
To give context to what he said, apparently, let's see. During the afternoon's White House press conference briefing, Spicer made a quip about conspiracy theories that U.S. President Donald Trump is an agent of President Putin, recruited via blackmail in 2013. And how the professional journalists who believe this conspiracy might add consumption of Russian dressing to their pile of circumstantial.
So are we talking about the one that believed in Pissgate? The one that actually believed that...
Sounds like
Probably.
It sounds like it. I don't know how
Or
to
something.
Golden Showers Gate, the people that believe that Trump hired prostitutes to piss on bed
But
sheets in
back
a
to the
room,
back to the
which
salad
bombs
dressing,
in
and I can't
Russia.
believe I just said that. CNN's Michelle Krupa dug deep and found that actually Russian dressing has no direct connection to the country that hacked our election. Krupa penned a fact-check headline. Russian dressing is actually from Nashua, New Hampshire. Whoosh! Joke overhead.
Oh, wow.
Whoosh.
Gosh, I can't wait to watch CNN dissolve. I'm gonna like throw a party. I'm just gonna invite all my buddies. Just be like, come on, we're drinking. CNN's done for. Can't wait.
Yeah. I want to see
Talking
the
about the
FCC
story.
pull their
I don't think
license.
that's going to happen.
Well, you'd be surprised, dude. Look at their ratings.
I don't think CNN's going to get gawkered. No, I don't.
Let me tell you this. You can look at the metrics. Infowars gets more hits than them. Like a lot of online news gets way more hits than CNN. They're dying, and they're dying fast.
CNN has an online presence. I really doubt they're already accommodating for these.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is that they're losing metrics because people will read their articles, but when they reference their articles, they archive it so that they don't get hits on their website.
It's because people watch television less.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is that like what I'm telling you? As soon as the baby, like this is cool to say, love my parents and stuff, but as soon as the baby boomers die off, all these major news networks are done. Nobody in there. I would say nobody between the ages of 18 and 35 watches lamestream news.
Viral,
Yeah.
you're taking this seriously again.
Oh, sorry.
We're here to laugh at CNN because they felt the need to fact-check salad dressing.
Yeah, and kind of on a funny note about this, isn't it kind of funny how like ever since Trump, it's the lefties who have all these like loony conspiracy theories, and like before it was all like people always thought the right wing.
Hey, salad dressing is serious business, man.
They're very serious.
There's nothing more serious than the salad dressing issue. I have to tell you, I'm awake all hours of the night worried about
What
this
salad dressing do you guys take in order?
You should all be
I
ashamed
don't-
of yourselves.
I'm a
I don't-
factory, so I take
You
Italian.
actually assume the ingredients?
I take Caesar, thank you, because I know that I'm more important than anyone else. I am the first citizen, damn it.
I'm a man, I don't eat salad.
I didn't say I used it on my salad.
Oh,
That's
okay.
how we know. That's how we know C's a Chinese warlord.
Oh, wow. I do like to give me some more. Feels good.
So, who's on a serious note? What is your favorite salad dressing?
Like I said, I'm a fascist Italian.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to go fascist and go with the Italian as well.
Okay.
Please,
I'm
please
gonna
don't
plead. I'm gonna plead the fifth
I
here.
used to be ranch till I became lactose intolerant, but
Yeah, we're gonna have to submit all of this to CNN just so they can check our political leanings just because of our salad dressing choices. Because obviously
Don't
they
worry,
haven't-
CNN. My name is American, not Russian, Guyovich.
Zesty lemon vinaigrette.
That sounds like it would be good on
Fabulous.
chicken, actually.
It actually that dressing does go really good on chicken. It does.
Should we?
is
Should
this
we wrap
a
this up?
German
soon?
dressing?
Yeah, we're on to food. Let's
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
go
we're
ahead and
gonna
wrap
like
it
wrap
up.
this up now and take it back to Discord.
Yeah, we're wrapping up.
Indeed.
Okay, so
Buenos nachos. Oh,
well, yeah. But so that was another episode of the Deplorable Batcave podcast. I've been your host, Spartacus, and I will ask our panelists to give us their closing thoughts on the night. Anthony?
Caesar or die. Dressings not included. Other than that,
I actually made Roman. I mixed Italian and Caesar. I'm a rebel. Blibbity blop.
I felt a great disturbance in the internet, as if millions of artists suddenly read out in protest, and was suddenly red-pilled. I
We're
feel something
quirky.
interesting has happened.
Yummy. John, what have you got for us?
Order share nieren nai nanjanjes. That's a little bit of a bad Chinese, but I'm a man. Buenos nachos.
That was some cheese, damn it. Next up. You never did give me your bloody username. Was it like the Beast or
Collectively unconscious?
something? Collective?
Yep.
Well, no, the guy next to you. The Beast? The Best?
The Beggar Man. I think.
Oh, the Beggar Man?
The Beggar Man.
Okay, the Beggar
Mega
Man.
Hero.
The Beggar Man. Oh.
Yeah. Get woke, motherfuckers.
That's right!
Okay, fuck
See?
ranch dressing. Dressing war now?
So noted, Beryl. See, your closing thoughts.
Make Pakistan India again. Victory to the Hindus, death to the Muslims. And I will never go to Pakistan.
Oh!
Ooh, hail yes! I say. Hail!
And based on that, remember, folks, hashtag make Istanbul Constantinople again, Chatelet.